So, okay, set to go. If I remember correctly, we called the meeting to order and who's here and who isn't. So I'm Barb Fish.
Alec McMurrin.
Gina Esposito.
Lisa
Thompson.
Sorry.
Lizzie Thompson.
Raise your hand.
Do we get everybody?
I think so. And actually, because we're all on the screen, it's pretty good for the record.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing is the approval of the minutes. And we have a copy of the November 10th minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay. And I think we need to vote on that. Is that right, Tara? Or is that?
Actually,
right?
first and a second is fine.
Okay, good. Okay. And next order of business is the approval of the meeting agenda. And does anybody have anything to add to that? Any amendments? No?
I move we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
Great. Okay. And do we need to vote on that, or that's good? The second motion.
That's fine. First and second is fine.
Okay. And we have no visitors that I'm aware of. I don't see anybody's face up there. So we go to the staff report. Tara.
So just a short one this time. Christina's last day was Saturday.
Oh, wait, there's a visitor.
Oh,
Santa's always welcome.
Santa's always welcome. Yes.
So yeah, Christina's last day, she's on her way to New Zealand, provided the jet got out last night. It was
Ooh.
delayed. So yeah, we're really gonna miss her. She was fantastic. So many skills and wonderful things that we really enjoyed having on staff. So Beth Lesh has been hired as our new clerk, and she started last week. So,
Good.
yeah, so we lucked out. We actually had 3 applicants for the position, and all very good. So it was a difficult choice to make, and yeah, so that was nice. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Strange time to have a job open. So the discovery kits, which I talked about last meeting, we've got our first ones ready to roll out, and by first ones I mean 5 of them ready to roll out early in the new year, and then more will roll out after that. So that's been great. Kari's been working on that, and it's like an organizational nightmare, these totes with like hundreds of little pieces of things and how to organize it and how to catalog it. She's been a real champ wading through all the complexity of that. I'm happy to say I have very little involvement at all, but they look great and they look fun. I accepted some new job responsibilities. I'm now the borough's website administrator. And you know, like I said in my report, I've been actually doing this since March. But the difference is now I'm going to be compensated for it.
Yay.
So it's officially part of my title. So I just wanted you guys to know that.
How does that affect your library position, or does it?
I've managed to juggle it all up until now. So I guess I'll just continue to do that. Yeah. It's actually it comes a lot easier to me as time goes on. Initially, it was chucked in the deep end, had to figure it out, but now it's just like, it's just it feels like part of my job. So it was nice that the borough manager decided to start compensating me for it.
So Tara, how many hours do you usually spend on that a week?
Well, you know,
Is
it's hard to say right now because a lot of it's tied up with the EOC stuff, and I would say still half my time or more is tied up with the EOC stuff. So, but you know, if in a normal year, say 2 years down the road, if there's something that looks like normal, it's just a few hours a week. It's not that hard. to maintain a website. I maintain the library's website, and it's a simple thing to do. Not that time consuming. One other thing I have in my report that I didn't write down was, so we had our fireplace redone. You guys probably sort of maybe remember that, or we had our, Mary Ellen, you might not. We had our gas fireplace propane taken out because it was a bit of a safety hazard, never really worked very well. So we had it taken out and replaced with an electric unit. This was just like May. And so what we have on the outside of the building, I don't know if you've noticed as you drive by, probably not, is we've got some areas of the building that have old pipes and things sticking out. It just doesn't look good. And so Pia is going to be putting up some more of these circles, I don't know actually. She's going to be putting up some pieces to cover it up.
Bubbles.
Hmm?
Bubbles.
Bubbles, to cover it up, hopefully this week, maybe next week. So that's going to pop up on the side of the building, and it's just a creative way to not have to purchase a bunch of siding and redo the whole side of the building. So it should look cool by the time he is done with that. I wanted you guys to know about that, but that's it for my report. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No, but I think that's really cool that you came up with that way of dealing with it, putting some more art in the community. Thank you. I love that.
I do too, and people will see it as they walk by or drive by. It's a great idea.
I was admiring the building the other day. Actually, I was walking around it and I thought, you know, especially actually at this time of year, I guess maybe it stands out. So, you know, everything else looks kind of bedraggled. Well, it looked good all the way around.
Good.
Yeah, and that's a real good idea to have her come over.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Anything else for Tara right now?
How much of a raise your hand thing was that when you initially became the administrator, or when you got dumped in the deep end of the COVID thing?
Well, it's kind of my own fault, actually. How it happened was, you know, it was early March and the COVID thing was hitting all across the world, had hit already all across the world. And the borough didn't really have anything. There was nothing said. There was nothing coming out of the borough. There was just no information, and people were starting to talk the way it happens when there's an information vacuum. It gets filled. So it was being filled with incorrect information. And so I just went down to the administration. I said, who's supposed to update the website? We really need to start putting something on the website because people are just making up their own stories at this point. And it's really easy to just at least put good information out there. It's up to people what they do with it. And so it was just it was just the clerks down at the finance department who were kind of told to do things once in a while, but it wasn't really their job. So it was kind of nobody's real job to update that website. And so Jody said, do you want to get trained on how to update the website? Here we are.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it because I do look at the website often and it's very well done. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly right now. We're just about to we're in the process of designing a brand new website. And that'll unfold in the next 4 months. So it'll be nicer looking and easier to find things probably by May, if all goes well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of part of what I do, that sort of access to information thing. So it feels like it's kind of fun. I don't mind. And it's nice to make the borough a little less opaque.
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
Okay. Next is unfinished business. And Tara, if it's the overview of the library's endowment funds, and if you could kind of go over that first before we make motions or whatever we need to do, if we need to do anything, just so we all know what's going on.
Sure. At our last meeting, we talked a little bit about the endowments, and I realized you guys didn't have a snapshot in front of you. And so I prepared this based on the balances of the accounts on the 7th of December. And so it shows the breakdown of what endowments we have. And one is the general library endowment. It's actually split into two, but you guys don't need to know that part. It's split into two. One is called donor designated and the other one is called just a regular endowment, but they both serve the same purpose. They both generate revenue every year, interest revenue, and that interest revenue becomes available to us in the form of our spendable amount every year. And so the $9,094 that you see there is not, oh gosh, sorry, only one decimal point after that. It makes no sense. I'm sorry. Shows you I'm no financier. But the 9,094 is not what we make every year. It's the cumulative spendable balance over the last 7 years. And so that's not an annual amount, it's a cumulative amount. So yeah, you could see that the library endowment now after Sue Paulson's donation now contains $159,000, and the art education endowment is $135,000.
Yeah, wow,
Cumulatively, we're getting close to $300,000.
wow.
Yeah, kind of shocking actually, considering we've never actually had an active endowment campaign. The only campaign that we've ever had, it was the capital campaign for the new library, which was how we initially ended up having a partnership with the Alaska Community Foundation and even learning about what endowments were and what they could do. And it's funny, back when we did this, Sue Paulson and I did this back in 2007, we sat down with ACF and said, what is this thing? And they said, you know, once you create it, it's kind of one of those build it and they will come things. Create it and you will and do a capital campaign and you create this culture of philanthropy around your organization that probably never existed before. And up until then, we'd almost gotten no donations, really, $25 here and there, small donations. And they were right. It does seem to have had that amazing ability to just become this wonderful thing with very little effort on our part. It's just created a different kind of culture of philanthropy around the library that has a much longer, it's just going to go on forever and ever. And that's pretty wonderful. So let's see, anything else about the endowments that's you guys would like to know?
I have a question, and that the fish wall, are people still putting fish up on the fish wall?
Yeah, we had actually Sue Paulson put a vote up
Yes.
on the fishing wall
Mhm.
this past summer. Normally we see a couple of fish every summer. People with visitors in town will see it, or just people coming to town will see it and want to get a fish on the wall. So we haven't had that many this year, but we generally have maybe 5 or 6 a year that we add to the wall. And part of me thinks that one day we should probably do some sort of a giving campaign or remind people about it as a potential gift around the holiday season, but you've just never really come around to that. Maybe one day.
Tara, maybe we could do it when we have a book sale, whenever, in the spring or whenever that happens.
Yeah, the pamphlet's on the desk, so it'd be really
Mhm.
easy to add that to other things, other events, feature it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else? Well, that brings us to new business. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking about that holiday thing, and it might not hurt to just say somewhere like on the radio or Tradio or something, like, I mean, I could do it. Just say, as a library board member, I want to remind people that a perfect gift for someone who has everything is
Yes,
a fish on the library wall.
I
good
would really
idea.
appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Okay, I'm putting it on my calendar.
Excellent.
And we should probably just have a motion we should have a motion on the overview. Yeah.
Okay. We need a motion on accepting the overview and also on the idea, a very good one, of going on the radio about the fish on the library wall. Did I hear? I don't know if I
Are you
heard.
looking for a motion?
Yes,
Oh, I move to, yes, that this breakdown of the library endowment is good and that I will mention the fish wall on the radio.
yes.
I think we need a second.
Did we get a second, Tara?
Yeah,
I
from
did.
Lisa,
I
Okay.
second.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Can anyone hear me right now?
barely.
Barely.
Okay, my audio's not working then.
No, it's fine, kind of working.
If I stand right here, how about that?
Yeah, pretty much.
See you better.
Okay, we'll move on to new business then. Okay. Again, John McCabe has another incredible contribution of $10,000. And Marilyn said she's already sent the letter thanking him, but it just amazes me that of all the money that's in that endowment, 111,000 he has contributed. I'm just amazed at that. And I've never met John McCabe, but we thank him very much.
And John wanted me to mention that he also is surprised to have been able to do this again. It's just that the investments that the income generated off those investments that he's made have been doing so well this year that he's able to make many more donations than he has in the past. It's quite wonderful. So he wanted me to let you guys know that.
Does he ever visit Petersburg?
Even since he moved,
Yes.
I think he did once.
Well, if he ever does, I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, I think he'd love to come back.
Do we need a motion to accept it?
We do.
Okay, we need a motion then to accept John McCabe's contribution of the $10,000.
I move we accept the donation. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, I turned my volume up on the computer. I move that we accept the donation from John McCabe.
Lizzie seconding.
okay. Accepted. Okay, then we have an update to the Art Education Endowment Guidelines. And again, Tara, if you could explain the proposal about the updates and what's involved with that.
Sure. So we wrote these guidelines when the fund was first established. And what we've ended up doing is a little bit different in terms of how the library director presents it to you guys. And so what we wanted, John and I wanted to do is amend the guidelines so that they were more in line with what the practices have ended up being. And so what the practices have ended up being, and this is point number 4, is that I present the annual spendable amount letter to you guys, generally January or February, whenever I get it from the Community Foundation. And so you guys get that in your packet at some point early in the year. And the other thing, point number 5, is that the library director recommends potential projects to be funded, and that the director recommends them no less than every 2 years. Just so we don't end up with a situation with a director or a board who forgets about the endowment. Where the idea is just to keep it on the radar, keep it on the record, and keep it active. Because we have gone through a few years at a time where we were finding other funding sources. So sometimes we don't necessarily need the funding from the endowment, but it's important to keep it in our view, I think. So that's why the every 2 years was added.
So
Any
go out and beat the bushes once in a while if people have forgotten that there's something available there.
Yeah,
I know the school is always looking for, well, they did, but once this is all over, they like having guest artists come in, and they're always looking for ways to make that happen.
yeah, we would love to partner with them and make that guest artist available to the community. That would just be
Mhm.
right up. That's exactly what we would want to fund with this sort of a funding source.
Would it be possible when Pia does her bubbles that we could do something after they're installed outside, or I don't know what, just a thought off the top of my head to, I don't know.
Like milk and cookies, you mean?
Well, I don't know, just
Yes.
like a tree lighting or I'm not sure what, but just something to recognize her and what she's done and the fact that that side of the library is going to look fantastic when it's done. A thought. And I don't know when she plans on doing it, Tara, and what it would entail, but
I think that's a hilarious idea. It'd be really good.
we could have a bubble machine. No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, no, I could just see, yeah, we can stand around in a circle and hold hands and, you know,
Blow bubble.
Blow bubbles, yes.
a fun commemoration, yeah, of anybody that was interested in doing something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
People like that kind of stuff they can stop by at, you know, it's not doesn't commit a whole afternoon. But it's
Right,
just,
right.
oh yeah, come on down for 15 minutes and
Yes.
have a,
although I'm not sure the EOC would be so into people coming down and like blowing at each other.
Maybe that's a bad idea, blowing bubbles.
Like distance or something.
Ugh.
I'd make cookies.
I could make cookies too.
So do we need to make a motion about updating the art endowment
Yes, we do.
guidelines? Okay, I'll make a motion to, if we're done discussing that,
Are we done? Any more discussion?
I only had a question.
Okay.
Just I was reading all the guidelines and I was reading that if the library for some reason doesn't exist anymore, the funds will go to any other library that has to meet some criteria, one of which is that it has to be in a town greater than 5,000 people. And I was just curious to know why. If
You know,
there is a reason for that.
That was one of John's criteria, and I actually don't remember why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that something that might possibly be changed since Petersburg has less than 5,000 people? And would we want it to go to, I don't know, a community that has about the same size as we are? Just a thought.
Wrangle?
Maybe that's why you put 5,000.
I'm glad you asked that question because that's a, yeah, I don't know why that would be either.
Maybe we should ask John what his
Yes.
rationale was and find out. There might be some logical reason for it. We just don't see.
well, because Petersburg hasn't had 5,000 people itself, ever. I don't think.
I wonder if he's thinking if it's going to be put somewhere, it needs to be to somewhere that's going to be viable.
Yeah, that might be it.
I think, actually, you know what? I think that's probably a reasonable guess. Knowing John, he's thoroughly thought it through.
Mhm.
And that sounds like the sort of reasoning. You want a library with a director, and we are at the low threshold for a library with a professional director.
Oh,
Would you feel comfortable asking him, or, because I'm kind of feeling like,
yeah, not important.
ask him if that's something, if he's thought through, I think we should just say, thank you so much for the $111,000.
I'd just like to hear him verbalize it though, because if he has gone, like you say, he's gone to the trouble to think it through, it'd be a little bit of an education for me, I think.
Mhm.
I can ask him.
Yeah,
good.
you know what I mean? Just
Yes,
Like I'm kind of appreciating what he's done there because I wouldn't have thought of it.
Well, it does say if there is no public library,
Sorry. Sorry.
Ooh,
Paul,
You know, everything's connected around here.
Yeah. If
Oh my
it says if there's no public library in Southeast Alaska that meets the selection criteria, then it will select one in a borough that with that larger population. So, I mean, you first go to Southeast Alaska and then, but yeah, it's interesting question.
Yeah, so the 5,000 is only if it's outside of Alaska.
Right.
In that case, yeah, there definitely probably wouldn't be, there almost definitely wouldn't be a professional librarian in or with a master's degree in a library, because most of those libraries are connected to other, they're on the road system, so they're connected to other libraries as branch libraries and such. So that.
Terry,
And
do you-
that's, sorry, second point still highlights the 5,000 citizens. Just the second point on the second page.
Mhm.
So that even is before the Southeast Alaska, if there is no public library in Southeast Alaska that meets the selection criteria. So it's already a criteria, right? Or am I reading it wrong?
I'm reading it that if there is a public library in Southeast Alaska that has at least 5,000 citizens, it would go there first. And then if there is none with 5,000 citizens, then it could go to, then the Alaska Community Foundation would select a public library. Is that correct?
I see it as just any Southeast Alaska library. And then if it's not in South, and if it doesn't go to Southeast Alaska, then it should go to a town with more than 5,000 people.
But the fact that the public library, the first point, as Gina was saying, or Lisa was saying, that the first bullet point is that the public library awarded the AEE fund will be in a city or borough that has a population of more than 5,000 citizens.
Oh.
And then a public library from Southeast Alaska will be awarded the AEE fund. And then if there is no public library in Southeast Alaska that meets the selection criteria, then the Alaska Community Foundation will select a public library in a city or borough that has a population of more than 5,000.
Yeah, I actually missed that second bullet point up there. And
Yeah.
so I guess the only other one that it would go to would be like Sitka in Southeast Alaska, right? I mean, what
Does
other,
any-
or
I
Juneau,
can't remember.
or Juneau. Or I guess Sitka, Juneau, or Ketchikan. It's going to go to one of those, and then if not there, then somewhere else. Right?
That's how it looks to me. And who would decide which public library in Southeast it goes to?
The Alaska Community Foundation will select a public library, it says.
But if there is one in Southeast Alaska, it doesn't specifically say that the Alaska Community Foundation would choose the Southeast Alaska Library. Whoa.
I think maybe I could take this all back to John and we could go over it again.
Yeah.
It is a little unclear, but that said, we're also talking about a time when the Petersburg Public Library doesn't.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
So we're talking worst case scenario
Yeah.
planning here.
I was just curious why the 5,000 people were picked, but yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, if you were to have to go through these guidelines and make a decision, it would be tough because there's some contradictions.
Well, we could always have him come on to one of our future meetings and then we can thank him in person and.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
if you're trying to get it
John,
done,
if he'd
not,
think so.
it's just, I don't think he will.
He might not. No, he was never very techie when we worked together.
I don't even know what he looks like. But
Look
Is there
at
any-
old, school yearbooks, elementary school. He was
Oh.
a teacher there for many years.
okay, I will do that.
He's surprisingly fun-loving. Being abused at the school that way.
Is there anything?
We
Okay.
didn't have a second on the update to the guidelines.
Yes.
We had a first, Gina, not a second.
Second,
So have we made the motion that we accept the update and we will, Tara will go over some of our questions with John, something to that effect? Does that need to be part of the motion? Don't know.
I don't think so, because I think she's just gonna go get information from him, and if then we need to make changes to the document based on that, then we would maybe make a motion and do all that stuff, but
Okay, sounds good.
for just these two things, I think we can just leave it at here, leave it at just the two additions or the two changes. We can.
Yep,
I think that's a good idea. Get as much done now as we can.
that's an excellent idea.
I
Yeah,
agree with Dina.
okay. So if has somebody made a motion? Sorry, I missed that.
I think I made a motion to amend, to add John's two suggestions and change, to the, what's it called?
Make the proposed changes.
Make the proposed changes, yes.
Yeah, I just can't remember what the document's called.
The proposed two updates to the art education endowment.
Yes, I make a motion to do that.
And Lizzie just seconded it.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
vote.
Okay, if there's nothing else about that, then we're going to go to the CCTV system replacement. And Tara, if you could go over that quote.
Sure.
us.
So you've got the Homeport quote in front of you. And so this is a complete replacement and upgrade of our entire video surveillance system. It adds some new functionality to our system that we haven't had. And also it's just a much better product. We did see it in action. Chris and I went to visit Parks and Rec and we saw the system and we're like, wow, this is like a modern CCTV system. We didn't realize ours was looking like it was from the 90s. And ours has been nothing but a headache. And the thing is, when you need the CCTV system to work, usually the police are involved and everyone needs the information now. And having a system that was just constantly dropping or not recording when it was supposed to be recording has been kind of a problem. So we thought it looked like a great system. It was suggested to me that we also request a quote from Bear Electric. They actually installed the original system when we were building the facility. But APT was actually the tech person or the tech piece of that. But I haven't, initially Bear Electric's interested in giving a quote, but it's been a couple weeks now since I called and asked again for one and have not heard anything. And I know that they're in and out of town. And I think what makes Devron's quote quite a bit stronger from the perspective of Chris and I is that we have a person in Devron and a company that is already been in our server room. He's connected with the borough's IT infrastructure. We have the borough's IT infrastructure is something called PCS, which is a company, I don't even know, somewhere down south. And but he's their person on the ground here. And so he will often go in and understands to some degree what's going on in that room. And I know Chris and I often cringe when strange people show up and think, like just do things in there. And Chris will be like, well, things changed and I don't know when they changed. And we've kind of had that problem a little bit with APT with changeovers and staff there. And I think Devron, and also they don't know the big picture of, we're also the hub for Parks and Rec and a couple of other different pieces of the borough's backbone. So it would be great to have Devron doing it because I think he has a sense of what he's getting himself into when he works in that room. So that's a big strength from our perspective. And also he's got some great suggestions for improving some certain areas of our collection where we don't have great surveillance right now and we need it. So, yeah, and it's a reasonably priced quote. We can't believe how cheap the cameras are. $200 each. Currently, we were paying $1,200 to replace the camera. So
Oh.
10 times cheaper. So it'd be easy to add new cameras if we need to, which before it was, do we really need to? But now it'd be like, it would be easy to.
And affordable to replace one that's damaged by.
Exactly, and that will happen. The ones out on the poles especially are subject to getting water in them.
Well, that sounds brilliant. I move that we okay the funds for this new surveillance system.
And I agree with that because we have been working with Devon and he has a new person working with him named Austin, who is also terrific. And they are there. You can call them. I think if it were any time of day or night, he would probably be there to help you. I think it's an excellent idea also to go with Devon.
I
So-
agree.
I agree.
So Lizzie motioned
Yeah.
and I'll second.
Good. Okay, it's moved that, and I think it says that use an amount not to exceed $10,000. And that, let's do it, I guess.
Okay, and you guys also kind of made the connection to the fact that if we just do decide to go forward with the shelter out front, we've got $10,000 less
Yes.
potentially
Right,
towards that. But then we also have nearly $10,000 sitting in the library endowment spendable amount.
right.
So if that were necessary, we could still potentially pull up that project
Mhm.
while also robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Well,
You know, like, it's, the money is still there to do the project if we need to do it. So we're not jeopardizing that project if
Right.
it does go forward.
Okay, good. It seems to me that if you're going to be putting a shelter up in a small community, surveillance is going to be that much more
Yes.
important.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll need cameras in there, I have to tell you that much.
Exactly.
Can I ask, what is this shelter project?
Mm.
I'm not sure I know.
Well, right out front of the building, there's an area that has no concrete on it. And it's not paved, it's just still gravel. It's a big open area. Just to the, as you're walking into the building, it's just to your right. And so the plan after we finished our construction, we finished all of our landscaping. The plan was that we would hire somebody to build a shelter, like just a really simple post and beam type shelter. And Dieter Close actually provided us with a really cool design. He wasn't able to go forward with the building part, and it's kind of been handed around between people. Reed Brothers is interested in getting the stone pillars for it. So it would be basically a roof, a wooden roof, and sitting on 4 stone pillars, very simple. And yeah, so that it's kind of a funny project. It's not really gone anywhere. It doesn't really have a contractor at the helm. And Andy Cowan has actually stepped up recently to say he would be interested in doing it, but I've been waiting for a price quote for a while. So I'm not sure if he can schedule us in or not, or if he's too busy. So we kind of want it to be made by the right person. We don't want to put it out to bid, and we want it to be beautiful, and we want it to fit because it's going to
Michael
sit.
Chirac is also very talented.
Yes,
Like,
yes. I think he's somehow involved too. So yeah, but then also we put up the storytellers pole out front. And so there's this whole other element of if we're going to block the view of that pole
Oh,
if we put it up.
Wait,
So
sorry, can you repeat that, Tara?
this, how when you walk up to the building or you drive up, you can see the storytellers pole.
mhm.
If we put a structure there now, you won't be able to see it.
Oh.
Ah,
So that's a problem I have not figured out how to solve.
hmm.
Because when you envision the shelter, do you envision it as like kind of like a cedar type thing with a kind of the posts and then like a shake roof?
Exactly. Very simple.
Would there be a bench under there or a place to sit or not?
Yeah, we were thinking about putting a few benches in there too.
Now, is that something that anybody's really attached to? I mean, I'm just wondering, 'cause
right.
it sounds like, you know, Dieter gave a plan, but he doesn't really want to build it, and Andy's not following through on giving you a quote, and I'm just wondering if this is something that someone really has their heart set on, or is it something that these funds, you know, and then you have the problem with the pole
Mhm.
and being able to see it. And then there's the whole, you know, thing of, I mean, like there's the WeCon thing and the little parks downtown. Do people actually use them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So
I mean, I
would-
think, go ahead.
Or is it, are we creating a place for people to gather and do things they shouldn't be doing?
I was thinking, I was thinking, could people bring the books outside and read them there
Yeah, if they were checked out, they could, yeah.
if they check them out?
I'm
It could
always,
be online there as well. It'd be a place for people to use the internet.
yeah, I mean, I love the idea of more covered areas in our town. Just,
Okay.
but I also, you know, I wasn't part of the beginning of that vision either, so I don't have like a huge connection. I'm just saying, you know, anytime there's a covered area, that's nice. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
But I also know that, I mean, I know that the library also attracts a lot of different people because we have so many resources, and I love that. I love it, but there's a fine balance too of like, I love that we can serve so many, and then a lot of people that don't have resources at home or whatever, and you really need, or don't have a home and come to the library to use resources. I love that. But I don't know. I don't say we need to scrap it, but I guess I just sort of say, maybe if we find a way around blocking the pole, or we find a different like design or something, or I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't scrap it, but I guess not in a hurry. We're kind of in a nice place, right?
Yeah.
Could it be
I
put
didn't-
somewhere else, like in the back?
I was wondering that too, because I was thinking in the back where, isn't it more circular? You could do some sort of roundhouse with a fire pit in the middle.
Oh,
Are we off topic?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
I just wondered, I wanted to add something in with the cameras.
Yes, Go
before we-
ahead.
Before we moved in, and it's, I don't know, so it might be important here in 5 years. And I don't know who's going to be involved in 5 years, which is a good point. Like Gina's saying, I mean, this was something that was all kind of, all of these, to revisit this. I mean, it was all visited at one time, and to revisit it at this time is probably a really good idea. But when the cameras come up to get revisited, they're guaranteed for 3 years, is my understanding. Which we were talking about the cameras on the surveillance system, and I guess generally, I think Devin said that he advised people to budget for replacement of cameras every 5 years, which is to the speaking to the issue of the expense of the cameras, of course. So while they get far longer than that, that's, you know, you could kind of say, well, 3 years is a pretty good guarantee. If they're going to last 3 years, they're probably going to go 6 years or 10 years or something, and they do. But they aren't something that are that last forever.
Right. And I think the important thing is to get the surveillance and the cameras up. And I don't know how long that will take. And we can continue to think about the shelter, and we can talk about it at a future meeting as well.
Yeah. So how long does it take? That's a good point.
How long does it take to,
When would he be able to do it?
Devin? I don't know. He's very busy, but I imagine he needs to start by getting everything ordered. So that's
Yes.
going to be the first hurdle.
So and we've said that we voted that, yes, we're going to go along with it. So he can be told that we're doing it, and then he orders things, and then I don't know how long it takes after that.
Did I vote? I forgot.
Yeah.
Point
Did
of
we?
order, I think what we've been doing is just
First
making motions and seconding, but we haven't been.
No, we
following
haven't voted.
Actual full
Okay.
vote, some of the items.
Are
but-
we ready to vote on the CCTV system replacement, or is there anything specific to that to talk about besides the shelter?
So we're just voting on the camera thing.
Yes, we're just
Okay,
voting
vote.
on the camera thing, yes. Okay, so all those in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope, okay, it passes unanimously. Okay, do we want to say anything more about the shelter, or should we move on?
I would
move
like
on.
I would like to take a few minutes to go and look at the space and maybe
Yes.
rethink it. I remember being on the board years ago when we initially started talking
Mhm.
about it, but I don't remember the details, even though I was
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
really where it came from is like, when you think about it, we would have come up with the idea quite a long time ago. Because it was
Uh-huh.
when the whole, that we were looking at drawings on paper.
yes,
Mhm.
So the idea itself is old, and so that space was carved out, and I'm really glad it came up today as something we really should revisit.
Yes.
Because it feels to me like a dangling project, which
Yeah.
is a little uncomfortable. And
leave it up.
but I also am not sure, I'm not 100, I guess I myself am not 100% convinced that it's a good idea.
Yeah,
But even as we talked right now, I thought, people aren't supposed to congregate right now, and maybe they won't be supposed to congregate again in 5 years. Maybe there is another solution, like just a couple of covered benches that have little tiny roofs, like just little tiny pods of
Ah,
benches where people can sit, they can stay dry-ish, they can be oriented so that you can look at the pole rather than block it.
There you go. Maybe we
Yes.
Andy, and maybe that's cheaper.
Yeah,
Maybe-
because you could do a
Yeah.
clear roof. Having a clear roof allows
Yeah.
more lighting, and then you're not,
right,
keeps a little bit lighter.
I would have loved that. It could be like little gnome houses.
like the one out at Dieter's Bridge. The one. with-
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, couple of little small things rather than one big thing.
yes,
Yeah.
Could we maybe meet there at some point, distanced, and stand around and just envision what looks, now that everything's built and everything's there and the pole is in place, and then rethink it.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
and could we have it as I don't know, on the next meeting under unfinished business, actually have it as an item to discuss? Or,
Yes, we definitely could.
okay,
Okay, sounds good.
And we'll make sure, weather dependent, that we get out there as a distance group before the meeting. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
sounds
And maybe I
perfect.
could even get Andy out there too, because he'll always have creative, good ideas about how to do things.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Tara, would it work that, I don't know if the community room, if we could use the community room for our, I don't know if we even want to do this, have all of us meet in the community room with masked and far enough apart? Is that
Community
even?
room is pretty full of stuff right now,
It is, it is.
so I think it would be a bit tough.
Okay,
Yeah, we could meet in different areas of the building, or we could all just go back to our regular Zoom location.
right, okay,
Zoom. So we could do something like have it meet at 9 out there,
right,
and then meet at 11 in here.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anything more about, okay, the CCTV system, we did that. We've talked about the shelter. So the next thing is discussion items. Oh, under that, well, Friends of the Libraries, I think everyone's, if you're a friend of the library, you received a mailing from Sue Paulson. And also, Tara, I think there was an email sent to everybody who's on the Friends.
Actually, it
So-
was sent to everybody who has a library, an email on file at the library.
Good, perfect.
And we've gotten lots of new members from that,
Good.
which has been fun to see.
Good. So I have a copy of the letter, and I'm glad to hear that it has generated some membership dues and new members, so that's good. really, that's all I have about the Friends, except for this morning, Rick got a Amazon Smile notice, and I don't know if this is the Friends of the Library since Amazon Smile started, and I don't know when the initial date was that it started, but the Friends of the Library has received $1,427.82
Wow.
from everybody. And I'm assuming that's correct. I didn't have a chance this morning to look and see if that's an accurate number, so I'll let you know. But, and that's since it started, and that was years ago. And I need to find out when this Amazon Smile started.
I just got an email saying that it was the most recent bit that was given was 40 some dollars. So,
Yeah,
I mean, so over the years that is possible.
It's added up, right?
And it includes the library purchases as well.
Oh.
The library purchases an Amazon Smile and gives it to the Friends. So when we purchase
Ah,
probably
good.
$30,000 to $50,000 a year off of Amazon.
Well, that's
So-
why it's. Okay.
So we're a big force behind that. That's actually why I wanted the Friends to do it originally, is because I thought, well, why not have every library purchase
Yes,
go towards that?
right.
So.
Well, I will try to find out when it actually started.
And I could probably find that out too.
Okay, good,
I have access to that.
good. You could do it probably much faster than I could do it. Yeah. That's really all I have about the Friends. Is there anything else?
Oh, well, the Friends will be apparently donating $300 towards our winter reading challenge. You know, every January we have a
Yes.
winter reading challenge. We're just setting that up right now, and so we'll have it again. And we're thinking $300 gift certificates for
Yeah.
our local businesses as the
Okay.
grand prize for the people that read a lot. So, thank you, Friends.
Anything else about the Friends? Do we have a date for the next meeting or?
Oh, I was sort of thinking January 12th.
Okay,
10 a.m. because I love this time. So much better than those evening meetings we used to have.
I agree.
Definitely.
Okay, is there anything else before we adjourn?
It's just really nice to see you guys.
Good to see you too. Good
to see you
to
too,
see
Brittany.
everybody. Yeah. Okay, we need a motion to adjourn.
I move
make a
we
motion.
adjourn.
Oh, yeah.
Second.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye.
Goodbye.